أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: وإذ يرفع إبراهيم القواعد من البيت وإسماعيل ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا واجعلنا مسلمين لك ومن ذريتنا أمة مسلمة لك وأرنا مناسكنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم ربنا وابعث فيهم رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياتك ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة ويزكيهم إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: إن العلماء ورثة الأنبياء ولم يورثوا دينا ولا درهما إنما ورثوا العلم فمن أخذه أخذ بحظ وافر. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, all praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah the Almighty shower His blessings and salutations upon our noble Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his family and companions and those who follow him to the day of Qiyamah. Ameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala discusses in great detail many occurrences in the Quran, and one that I would like to highlight today was the building of the Kaaba and the characters involved and what their vision was, what was their intention, what was their purpose. So as we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran that Ibrahim was the one who built upon the foundations of the Kaaba, and he was with his son Ismail alayhi wassalatu wassalam, and they made a special dua as they were building the Kaaba. Such a noble act, like how when we do our most noble acts, we should also be making dua to Allah, asking Allah to forgive us, to accept from us. Imagine if we were to build the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, would we remember to ask for acceptance? And they said, رَبَّنَا تَقَبَّلْ مِنَّا, Oh Allah, accept from us. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ, Verily you are the all-hearer and the all-knowledgeable. And they carried on making another dua. رَبَّنَا وَجَعَلْنَا مُسْلِمَيْنِ لَكَ, Oh Allah, make us submissive towards you. وَمِن ذُرِّيَّتِنَا, and from our progeny, أُمَّةً مُسْلِمَةً لَكَ, a submissive nation. وَأَرِنَا مَنَاسِكَنَا وَتُبْ عَلَيْنَا, and show us our ritual pilgrimage, the rituals of pilgrimage, and forgive us, and turn towards us in acceptance of our repentance. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ, indeed you are oft forgiving, you love to forgive, and you are most merciful. They continue to make a dua. رَبَّنَا وَبَعَثْ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا, O Allah, send within them, meaning the progeny, our progeny, the progeny of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, send amongst them a messenger, sallallahu alayhi Muhammad, minhum, and the Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was asking from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his wisdom as a prophet of Allah that the Prophet should be from amongst them. It should be a person that has grown up with them. يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِكَ. And then a quality, a very special quality that this character, this person should have, is that they recite your verses. They recite the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we will go into detail, inshallah, about these qualities that we are mentioning in brief at the moment. وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ. And this Prophet will teach the people the book, meaning the Quran, the law of Allah. We will elaborate, inshallah. وَالْحِكْمَةَ. And the wisdom. Many ulama mention that this hikmah is talking about the sunnah of the Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Other ulama mention it is a different aspect of the Quran, the wisdom of the Quran. We have the law and we have the wisdom, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'lam bisawab. وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. And this person, this character, should purify them. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. And verily you are the Aziz. You, Allah, are the one who has all sovereignty. You are the one that gives law. You are the one that decides whatever He wills. Wal Hakim, and you are the very wise one. So whatever has been taught, whatever wisdom comes, everything is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And before we get into the qualities of what Ismail has he said, Ibrahim and Ismail, the dua they had made, very interesting that who is present in this dua. And we see Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam and Ismail, and they are both asking, and we know that this is a dua which has been accepted, as we will further give detail. We see that it was Ibrahim and Ismail. And who is the progeny of Ibrahim and Ismail? That progeny which was supplicated to have the Prophet sent amongst them. It was a progeny of Ismail because he was the one that was present. And who were the progeny of Ismail? We know that Ibrahim had many children, but the progeny of Ismail were none other than the Arabs. And only one Prophet was sent amongst them, and that was Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is just a side topic I thought would be interesting to mention, that from the dua of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, that we now have the most noble of prophets with the most noble of characteristics, none other than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, going into these details, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has obviously inspired His Prophet to make this dua. And the first word that Nabi Ibrahim mentions is waba'ath. So waba'ath is a very, very special word in that it means to be sent. It means to send a prophet. But it's not just to send a prophet, but it's to elevate that status of a person who is being sent. So it's a very honorable word to use for a prophet. Fihim, waba'ath fihim, send within them. So the Prophet will be from amongst them. Minhum, not only will he be within them, but he'll also be from them. So this gives a beautiful description of how the Prophet ﷺ lived his life. Yes, he grew up with them, but he was also with the people. He was part of the people. I was thinking of an example. It's perhaps like some of us. We are living in Australia, but we're not really from the Australian people. We are here, perhaps even we were born here, but we don't know the Australian culture. We don't know the Australian way. We don't know how to pronounce their names properly. So this is not fihim wa minhum. This is not the same thing. So the Prophet ﷺ had that connection with his people. May Allah Ta'ala give us that connection with our people. Yatlu alayhim ayatika. And this Prophet Muhammad ﷺ will recite his verses, or recite your verses of Allah upon the people. And just to quickly mention, linguistically, the word yatlu means the verb, the noun for it would be tilawa, which is a common word that we understand, tilawa, which is different from qira'ah. Qira'ah is more focused on pronunciation, just the mere reading. For example, if I read a book, any book, I'd use the word qara'a, like qira'ah. But you'll never read a book with tilawah. Only the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a special quality of tilawah. And it also has an understanding that it's supposed to be learnt and followed. Not only just read for entertainment, but it's something that's to be adopted. And this is the characteristics of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And interesting how this would be the first quality of the Prophet. Out of the main 4 qualities that we're mentioning is that he is bringing the Quran. So this is the purpose of a Prophet, is to bring the Quran to us. And if we look on the flip side, as people of the nation of Muhammad, then the first thing that we should be doing is taking the Quran. Isn't that right? If the purpose of the Prophet ﷺ is to recite the verses, then it is upon us to listen. Isn't that correct? First responsibility that we have is to understand how to read the Quran and then put it into practice into our lives. May Allah give us that ability. وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابُ, and this Prophet will teach them the book. So we've already mentioned reciting the Quran, which is very, very important. But he will also teach the book. And the word yu'allim, perhaps we would all be more familiar with the word mu'allim. Mu'allim means a teacher. We're all familiar with the word mu'allim. So when we have a mu'allim, it's something that we have had for a continuous period of time. Maybe 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10 year, 20 years. Maybe we always will have a teacher. So it's not just something that we can recite the Quran and we're done. Yu'allim is something, and the word, the form, the verb word is what they call mudari', which has a time, which is something that's supposed to carry on. It's something that's supposed to carry on in the present and also applies to the future. So يُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابِ, that he will be amongst them continuously teaching them what the understanding of the Quran is. And in particular, this part is talking about the law. And the next part, as some understand it, wal hikmah, and another aspect of the Quran is the hikmah. And it is so important for us not just to have knowledge. We can know so many things, but if somebody comes up to us and we tell them to get out of my face, I don't want to talk to you, I don't have time for you, I'm not interested, I look like I just ate a lemon. This is not hikmah, but it has a lot of knowledge. So it's important for us to couple knowledge with hikmah. So many different aspects of the Quran there are for us to learn. And one very strong piece of advice on how we can learn hikmah is company. The Prophet ﷺ taught his companions knowledge. But hikmah and wisdom comes with spending time with a person. You see that in this situation, this is the best thing to apply in this situation. And if a person in a situation applies not the optimal thing, then he can be told that this would be a more optimal thing. Or this is incorrect to apply in this situation. It may be correct in terms of the knowledge, but the application of the knowledge is something that takes time. So it's important for us, of course we can't spend time with the Prophet ﷺ, but it's important for us to spend time with the heirs of the Prophet ﷺ. And he ﷺ said, إِنَّ الْعُلَمَاء وَرَثَةُ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ, that the ulama are the inheritors of the Prophet. And they do not inherit wealth. It's not gold and silver that they have inherited, but they've inherited knowledge. And whoever takes a portion of that knowledge, he has taken something which is sufficient for him. So it's extremely important for us to look at this verse and look at it as if that we are looking at our Prophet ﷺ, his qualities, and we are also looking at the flip side of the coin, that how does it apply to me? How does it apply to me that this is the qualities of my Prophet, so how should I be as a ummati of the Prophet ﷺ? First thing, we should be reading a lot of Quran. We should be learning the words of the Quran. But that's not enough. We need to go deeper and learn the deeper meanings of the Quran. Learn different subjects within the Quran. The Quran is made up of many different subjects. And if we are only reciting the Quran and we are not understanding what we're reciting, we are not really taking knowledge, because that's only in the next part. But the Prophet ﷺ said that whoever takes a portion of knowledge, وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابِ, about the law, about many aspects of the Quran, then it becomes something that is sufficient for him. But before that, before we take true knowledge, then it's not sufficient. وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. And the final quality of in the dua of Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam was that he will purify him. And it is interesting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted this dua and mentioned it in 2 other places in the Quran. And he used almost exactly the same wordings but changed it slightly. And we can understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would change it and perfect the dua. And you could almost say lack of understanding of a whole that Ibrahim alayhi salam had as a human being, and that Allah ta'ala has infinite wisdom. That Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam had many children, and he was surrounded by his children who were prophets. He knew children, he had experience with children as prophets. So tazkiyah, some people could understand that tazkiyah for Ibrahim was not as important as teaching and wisdom, because he could see in front of him was prophets. But for everybody else, we don't have prophets as children. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then says, وَلَقَدْ مَنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذْ بَعَثَ فِيهِمْ رَسُولًا. So Rasulan, mentioning the same word, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done a great favor upon the Muslims, upon the believers, when He sent فيهم, amongst them, a prophet. مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ, again, from amongst themselves. يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ, He would recite upon him His verses. وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed the verse. Yes, we keep in the Quran as the focus, something that we need to plant the seed within our children, get them reading Quran, get them understanding the words, but also at the same time we need to make their tazkiyah. We need to make their tazkiyah, and how do we do that? It's something that comes with time, with company. The Prophet ﷺ said that the person that you spend your time with, that qualities will rub off on you. Like how when you spend time with a person who sells perfume, you will go away from that person and you will smell like perfume. And if you accompany yourself with a iron worker, you will go away smelling like an iron worker. So may Allah give us that understanding of that. وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَإِنْ كَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلُ لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. And then the verse ends off there, inshallah. Just quickly to mention the other place where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions it, in Surah Al-Jumu'ah. And He said, it's a bit long, I won't mention the verse here, but I want to mention something which comes after the verse. مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةَ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving an example of people who don't take this responsibility upon themselves, and He's saying that it happened to a nation before, where they had a lot of knowledge, but they didn't put it into practice, they didn't make tazkiyah, they didn't do all these things that came after gaining that knowledge. It is like, the example of these people is like those who were given the Torah, and then they didn't really take the responsibility seriously. And this is like a donkey who has been given books to carry. So a person could have this book of the Quran, he carries it around. Even the tafsir mentioned a person who is a hafiz of Quran, he is carrying the book around, but he hasn't gone to the effort of learning the Quran. He hasn't gone into the effort of learning the Sunnah or learning the wisdoms of the Quran. He hasn't gone into the effort of making tazkiyah of himself. So this is like a person who's like a donkey who's carrying the books, but he gets absolutely no benefit from it. Actually, it's worse because the person has intellect, so he's carrying these books and he doesn't get any benefit whatsoever. And then Allah Ta'ala talks about, obviously, that this is not a good example of a person. So it is upon us to take this opportunity to have knowledge. And the Prophet ﷺ says, مَنْ يَلْتَمِسُ فِيهِ مَنْ يَلْتَمِسُ what is it? يَلْتَمِسُ مَنْ سَلَكَ طَرِيقًا يَلْتَمِسُ فِيهِ عِلْمًا سَهَلَ اللَّهُ لَهُ بِهِ طَرِيقًا إِلَى الْجَنَّةِ. Whoever traverses his path seeking knowledge, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make that his path to Jannah easy. And the word salaka is something that has a very deep meaning, that he takes something extremely seriously. It's not something that he does on the side when he has free time. It's not something that he does when he remembers to do it, and then when he doesn't remember to do it, he doesn't, and he's okay with that. It's something that is a primary focus of a person, that he's trying to get to Jannah, and the main focus of his trying to get to Jannah is studying. studying the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sitting with the ulama, studying the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, trying to make tazkiyah of himself. And tazkiyah is a very vast subject and very difficult to explain in a few words, but is working on himself as a person, with his personality. What is his character like? So in this regard, inshallah, just to repeat what the ulama have been saying in the last couple of weeks, that we will be starting many courses in the near future. We are starting Alim course next year. We are starting, which is a 1-year Sharia course, which is a stepping stone into the Alim course. So if anybody is interested, anybody whatsoever is interested in doing full-time study next year, we are taking enrollments, inshallah. So we will be understanding the book, we will be translating the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cover to cover. We will translate the book, so we will understand the words. We'll also be looking at the verses of the Quran pertaining to different subjects. For example, fiqh, there are verses that have been compiled into various books and subjects that only pertain to fiqh. So we'll discuss that in one subject. And another subject, we'll look at the verses of Aqidah. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about our belief system? And we'll study them in detail. And we'll study the Asbab al-Nuzul, the reasons of revelation. So the background to a verse, why was that verse revealed? And how does that have an impact on how we should understand that verse? And we'll look at what's the most valuable book when it comes to history? What is the most accurate book on this planet when it comes to history? It's the Quran al-Kareem, because it is flawless. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-seer and all-knower. When He says something happened, it happened exactly like that. So we're looking at the Quran from a historical perspective, and we will understand our history based upon the Quran al-Kareem, and also be understanding at the end of it, having a good understanding of the Arabic language. And basically we're trying to create avenues for everybody to study. So if you have any children, or you have any different situation, different intention which you would perhaps like to study, then come and speak to us, inshallah. Perhaps we have something already discussed, or we can organize something for you, inshallah, because we want to fulfill this characteristic as we are the inheritance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we're taking this responsibility on ourselves. There is no Prophet after us, after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we are taking this responsibility that we are here to teach, and we are hoping that many people will be willing to learn, inshallah. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.